Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Ghost, and this is another trade recap of our weekly outlook. Coming into this week, we had our downside setup that we wanted to look for and our upside setup. And I'm just going to walk you guys through how those trades hit. Now that we've got both of our levels confirmations, we can go through this trade recap. So let's get right into it. So starting off the week, I posted my weekly outlook on my newsletter. I did post a YouTube video. You guys should go check that out. And we're just going to go right into what my setups were coming into this week. So for ES, I had two setups for the long and for the short. For the setup that I wanted to look for the upside was a break above 5547.75, or you could have taken the entry above that 5550 level. And invalidation would have been breaking below that 5547.75 level. And then for the short setup, it was to take that break below that 5513. And or you could have taken the entry on the 5511. The invalidation was breaking back above the 5513. So let's get into those trades. First one we're going to go through is the short setup. That was the first setup we did get coming into this week. So we're going to go look at how that trade went. So here, looking at our ES chart, the confirmation for a short entry was if we broke below this 5513 support, or we could have taken that entry on the 5511, and our stop is above there. Most of my trading strategy, I like to have the confirmations on the 5-minute close. So as you can see with this 5-minute candle, how much extension we got on that breakdown. If you did it on touch, you could have got that nice move down. But at that point, when I see an impulse candle like that going through all my PTs or my breaks, I just kind of let the price retrace a bit before I see if it has a continuation. And I did take this trade once we came back down and we got this close. So again, here I stayed patient. Here we never got the close. Here we never got the close. So once we got this move right here, I had to stay patient again because it is another impulse candle. I wanted to see a small close. So as you can see right here, we got that small close. I did take this trade. And as you can see, we got a small move here. But as soon as the price came back and closed above, I took that stop on my position. It was a very small trade. And at that point, I was done. I never took another trade for that day. And that was on yesterday, Monday. So that's the setup on the downside for the weekly outlook. This impulse candle kind of ruined the whole trade. I definitely wanted to get into this trade, even to get that first trim down at that 5508 level and then see if we could have got continuation. But each time it was on an impulse candle, so I never got a good confirmation to enter. The stop would have been too far from entry, so I never enter when the stop is too far from the entry. So that's it for ES downside. So now looking at the upside setup, going long or buying calls on SPY options or SPX, you could have bought calls, was a close above that 5547.75 level that we had marked right here. That was a confirmation. So just like how I was explaining, the downside invalidation for that entry was with the impulse candle. As you can see on this one, we got a pretty close close above. So our stop was very small. So that break above gave perfect entry. And as you can see how this trade continued, the stop was going to be if we closed back below here. And you can see how this setup actually went through. So we had the small stop on the downside setup for the week, but the upside setup hit and confirmed, and we got this extension move up. So I also gave a setup for SPY. We're going to go through that breakdown, but just showing you guys, just follow your system, risk management, and then you can see how the probability game works. So let's go over to SPY chart. So now let's go over to our weekly outlook setups that we were looking at for the upside and downside. For SPY, the upside setup was going to be a break above that 547.08, and validation would have been breaking below a 546.96 because we had that support pretty close down right underneath it. Some people could have taken that as an early entry, but I just wanted to wait for the confirmation break above the 547 and have my stop set at that 546.96. And then the short setup will be breaking below that 543.17 and validation breaking above that 543.33. So let's get over to the charts and see how those setups hit. So now the first setup that we got was the downside setup, just like with ES. had this confluence with ES and SPY, taking that same trade and that same entry. The levels were pretty similar. That 543.17 was the confirmation, and the stop was above that 543.3. As you can see, we got that impulse move right almost down to the PT. Got that move back up. So the reason why I liked the setup again once we came back down was because we did test the key level again, and then we got that push back down. Once again, we got a big close below. I did not want to take this entry. I waited to see price would stall or hold below this stop that we had at 543.33. It did stall right here. We did get the close below. We didn't get the full close below 543.17. I took an early entry right there, and my stop was going to be a lot tighter because I was closer to the stop. And you can see we got that stop, and I got out for a small loss, paper cut, and I was finished for that day. And so that's that Monday trade, confluence with ES. So now let's see the other setup that we got for the upside. So now moving over to our upside setup on SPY, the levels that we wanted for confirmation was above that 547 level. So we wanted the 547.08 resistance break to enter, and our stop was going to be set at that 546.96. As you can see, we got that break above. It closed above 547.25. So you could have taken the entry or waited for a small pullback, or taken it with the confluence on ES, and or move your stops up to that 547.08. But 20 cents on SPY is not such a big drawdown. And then you could have taken that move all the way up and gotten that full 2 PTs, and that trade pretty much went exactly as planned. If you held for runners, you could have got a continuation move all the way up. So just making sure you guys see how my thought process is when I do make these weekly outlook setups. I take both sides whenever they do come, and I do get my confirmations. That's the only way you can play a system. You just take every signal that you do get from your system. So I hope you guys did enjoy this trade review from our weekly outlook. I'm going to continue to do these. I'm going to keep posting those charts. I'm going to keep making a detailed plan underneath the charts, and then also making that YouTube video with a subsequent review video like the one we're doing today. I hope you guys enjoy your night. Appreciate you guys. Peace.